Europe is a really interesting place to see what God is up to at the moment. A couple of things. Firstly, how do you define Europe? Where does the idea come from? In many ways, what Europe is the former lands that used to be part of Christendom, this very Christian part of the world. But when we use the term Europe, we refer to a process where many of those places aren't as Christian as they once were. And what this fact can do is help you think about this sort of narrative that to be Christian, to be part of the church in Europe, is to be part of something which is in decline. And often I know when I talk to leaders from Europe, that is very much part of the story that they've imbibed about what it is to be a believer in this place, that it's hard, that it's under-resourced, that it's difficult, that the dominant culture is always against you, and that the good days are in the past. But we're at a really interesting moment. We're at a moment where many of the predictions, the ways that we expected society to go are being radically disrupted. The world that we thought would emerge is not turning into the world that is actually the world we're living in. Technology, the economy, geopolitics have reshaped everything. And people who used to look to culture, society to deliver a better world are now looking on the changes that are happening with real apprehension and fear. Many young people look at the world and they're actually really discouraged about the direction that the world is going in. So what this means is we're seeing this phenomenon, and we're not just seeing it in one place, we're seeing it all across the world, that you're seeing particularly young people, but all ages, but really particularly young people, exploring faith, many who have never explored faith before. We're seeing little spot fires of stories. The Quiet Revival report that's come out in the UK, reports in Japan where all of a sudden young people are interested in possibly becoming Christians. You're seeing reports in Northern Europe of people turning up to church and wanting to know more about faith. The Alpha Course stats all over the world are just picking up at the moment. There is something happening. It's happening all over the place. And the problem is sometimes if you've been doing mission or church in a place like Europe, you've been defined by the last 30 years. But what actually if the next few years are going to be very different? What if there's actually an opportunity coming before us? What actually if there is a new harvest that we need to be prepared for? That the future is open and unpredictable, but actually that God at this moment is drawing people to himself in this new and disruptive way. And one of the messages I guess I would have for Europe and European leaders is Europe has been uncomfortable with leading in the last little while. But what seems to be happening in its early days is that there seems to be beginning of some sort of new renaissance of faith in Europe. So my encouragement to Europe is be prepared to lead, be prepared to be the cutting edge of the next thing that God could be doing in the world. It's a really hopeful and exciting time, and I hope you can reframe away from an inevitable narrative of decline to a new story of real possibility of what God could do here in Europe.